Facts you may or may not know, like the woodland vase is worth lots of dough. Black-eyed Susans aren't in season till summertime, but the painted petals draping the winter are still sublime. Which brings us to a group that, even though their team did disband, have been playing here 25 years, the Baltimore Colts Marching Band. Proving no matter what, the band and the Harbor City can endure, just like Pimlico and the Preakness, for sure.
Quite a poem. I don't think they've ever heard anything like that here at the Preakness Stakes. Jim McKay, I'm Becky Dixon, and I have come now down to the winner's circle to join Jim.
Good to be with you. I guess we'll have to name Robbie Cowan the poet laureate of ABC Sports.
Of the year.
Yes.
Jim, you know, we talked earlier about what a rough race the Derby was. We had 3 fresh horses in the Preakness today, 3 horses that did not run in the Derby. Will they have a big advantage?
Well, they certainly have some advantage, and very often a fresh horse will win the second race of the Triple Crown. But of those horses, the one I have my eye on is called Looking for the Big One. He'll be number 5. He's only run 4 times in his life. That's the rap against him, but he's very fresh. He's very talented. He'll lead the race. Let's take a look now at the odds as they stand at this moment here at Pimlico. Here we go with Bet Twice, second in the Derby now at 5-1. Harriman, the long shot, at 48-1. Phantom Jet at 21-1. And No More Flowers, another long shot. Looking for the Big One. Moving along. Here we go. Alysheba at 2-1. Goat 7-2. AV's Copy 21-1. Cryptoclearance co-favorite with Alysheba at 2-1. Back to you, Al.
All right, Jim, I'm just looking at past Triple Crown winners, wondering whether Alysheba might just be another. Looking ahead to today on ABC Sports, the Preakness. 112th begins at 4:30 Eastern Time on ABC Sports. And tomorrow, Chevy Truck presents the Winston, a very unique NASCAR event which features only NASCAR winners in 3 different segments at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Now we go to the conclusion of the Western States 100.
Triple Crown winner in 1987. Every year it's the same, like a high-stakes game of 10 little Indians, thoroughbreds on the verge of greatness, perhaps even the Triple Crown itself. In the fall of '86, there were 10 little thoroughbreds racing for the prize. But one of them, Java Gold, was forced to the sidelines for a while and wasn't ready for the Kentucky Derby. And then there were 9. Gone West hit the headlines in the spring, but skipped the Derby to prepare for the Belmont. And then there were 8. Temperate Still won the Santa Anita Derby and went to Louisville for the big one. But a temperature fell Temperate Still, and then there were 7. Talonham won the Flamingo, but injury struck him in Kentucky, and then there were 6. Stevens Be Gone stormed out of Arkansas as the Derby favorite, but he bled from the nose in the race. He was pulled up on the backstretch, and then there were 5. Capote was the 2-year-old champion, early favorite for the Triple Crown, but when the Derby was done, Capote finished all by himself. Not first, but last to cross the finish line, and then there were 4. Gulch won the Wood, and hopes were high, but 6th place was the best he could do at Churchill Downs. Then there were 3. Cryptoclearance, Florida's pride, winner of the Florida Derby, rallied late, but too late. Then there were 2. Bet Twice had the Derby almost won, it seemed, but he swerved and staggered in the stretch. And then there was 1. Just 1. Just Alysheba, winner of the Kentucky Derby. 10 little thoroughbreds starting out the year, and now of the tens of thousands of foals born in 1984, of the hundreds entered for the Triple Crown, of the 17 who started in the Derby, only Alysheba still has a chance at the greatest prize of all. At the end of this day, will another horse defeat him, and then there'll be none? Or will he win the Preakness and go for it all in the Belmont? Go for the Triple Crown. ABC Sports presents from Pimlico Racecourse in Baltimore, Maryland, the 112th running of the Preakness Stakes. What a gorgeous springtime afternoon it is here in the heart of Maryland. From the all-day party in the infield to the regulars along the rail to the more sedate luncheon in the members' dining room, it's Preakness Day, Maryland's greatest annual occasion. The crowd, estimated at more than 80,000, is basking in the sunshine, watching the early races and arguing among themselves, who will it be? Who will win the Preakness? Good afternoon. I'm Jim McKay reporting from Pimlico. We all know, of course, that the Preakness is the second jewel in the Triple Crown, but here in Maryland, they say that the Preakness stands all by itself.
I think that the Baltimore poet Ogden Nash perhaps summed up their attitude best when he wrote this couplet when he said, "The Derby is a handsome race of aristocratic sleekness, for steeds of birth to prove their worth, for running in the Preakness." That's about the way they feel around here, and what a Preakness it should be today. A 9-horse field, included in it 5 of the 6 top finishers in the Kentucky Derby, and we would have had the 6th one, except that that horse came down with a minor injury last week and had to be taken out of the race. In addition, 3 other colts. We've got the Maryland-bred hometown Harriman. We've got a mystery horse called Phantom Jet, and we've got one called Looking for the Big One, a speed horse out of the Wayne Lucas barn who just might steal it all. Now let's take a look at the specifics of this 112th running of the Preakness Stakes. The purse, more than $500,000. The distance, as always, 1 mile and 3/16, a 16th of a mile shorter than the Kentucky Derby. The track condition is fast today, although the times have not been too fast or too impressive. The temperature, 73 degrees, wind out of the east at 10 miles an hour. As I said, it's an almost perfect day here in Maryland. Now, there's a new aspect of the Triple Crown this year. The bonus system. 1 horse at the end of the 3 races will get a bonus of $1 million on a point basis. And Alysheba, of course, leads with the 5 points he got for winning the Derby. Bet Twice was second with his 3 points, and in third place, AB's Copy got 1 point. Now, as we said, $1 million bonus for the horse with most points who finishes all 3 races. However, if 1 horse should win them all, and that can only be Alysheba now, remember, he will be guaranteed total prize money of $5 million. There's a lot at stake here this afternoon, and way up on top of the grandstand with a beautiful vantage point is my ABC colleague, Al Michaels. Al?
Jim, this reminds me of the Derby in a sense. It's a tough one for the handicappers to figure, like a giant jigsaw puzzle. You can make a case for 5 or 6 horses winning this race. There is one very big difference, though. At Louisville, we had a field of 17, which created a rough trip for a lot of the starters, and now we have about half that size. Just a field of 9, 6 of those who come over from Louisville, and then the 3 newcomers. So a field of 9 for the Preakness, and let's take a look at the current odds. And we have some interesting situations developing. Bet Twice was being held at 7-2 earlier today, is now up to 5-1. Harriman is the long shot at 47-1. Phantom Jet, who won here on the grass 2 weeks ago, is 19-1. No More Flowers has little backing, and Looking for the Big One at 13-1. By the way, the post positions and the saddlecloth colors are noted in the box on the left-hand side. So pick your favorite horse, and you can see the silks that the jockey will be wearing today. We have co-favorites. Alysheba is down to 2-1. Gulch is 7-2. AV's Copy, despite finishing 3rd in the Derby, is 21-1. And the co-favorite along with Alysheba is Cryptoclearance. He, like the Kentucky Derby winner, is 2-1. And those are the odds now about 1 hour before post time. To call a race and for the pre and post race analysis is Dave Johnson. Dave, we talked about the paucity of Triple Crown winners. In fact, no horse has won the Derby in Preakness since Pleasant Colony in '81. And in a 38-year cycle, only Secretariat, Seattle Slew, and Affirmed have won the Triple Crown. Why is it so hard for a horse to win all 3?
It takes a special quality to win each of the races. In the Derby, you have to have a horse with tractability and maneuverability because of the big field. In the Preakness, you have to have some speed, and in the 1.5 mile Belmont, you have to have a horse with stamina, courage, staying power. Also, no Triple Crown winner without a little racing luck. And don't forget, all this has to be done in just 9 weeks.
In a very short period of time. So we'll see if Alysheba can do it. Meanwhile, let's go down out of the jockey's room and check in with Jack Whitaker.
Thank you very much, Al. This jockey room is a legacy of Alfred Vanderbilt when he was president of the Maryland Jockey Club. He thought jockeys should have a little more comfortable place to change their silk. And it has a lovely sun porch, and on that porch we'll be talking to some of the riders who'll be on the favorites today, including a profile of Chris McCarron, who so dramatically brought Alysheba home so safely in one of the most dramatic stretch runs ever seen in Kentucky Derby history. Alysheba has been on the grounds here, of course, for quite some time, but his living conditions not quite what they are for Kentucky Kings. And for that story, let's go to Charles C. Candy.
You are looking at stall 40, which traditionally houses the Kentucky Derby winner here at Pimlico. But the horse in the stall is Bet Twice, the runner-up. The Derby winner is stabled way down here in stall 18 because his trainer, like most horsemen, is superstitious. So Jack Van Berg requested that Alysheba occupy the same stall as Gate Dancer, his Preakness winner 3 years ago. And just for insurance, Jack will be wearing the same suit he wore Derby Day. But there's much more to Jack Van Berg, and later I'll have his story. But meanwhile, we'll go back to the winner's circle and Jim McKay.
All right, Charlesy. Thank you. And there is the horse that has moved into a co-favorite role here in the Preakness Stakes today. Cryptoclearance, winner of the Florida Derby. We'll keep an eye on him.
The 112th running of the Preakness Stakes. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Chrysler. Chrysler believes a luxury car should be a great driving car. At Chrysler, they're driving to be the best. By Embassy Suites Hotel. By Minolta, creator of the incredible Maxim Autofocus SLR system, only from the mind of Minolta. And by the Bartles & James Premium Wine Cooler Company.
Chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why
Brown Badgett had 51 racehorses, but he was discouraged with the business, so he wanted to sell them all. His trainer, Dave Casson, said, if you must sell them all, but not this one, keep one. And he did. Just Davy's Copy, who finished third in the Kentucky Derby. Back up top to Al Michaels and Dave Johnson.
Jim, one interesting thing about A.V.'s Copy, he had a very smooth trip to finish third in the Kentucky Derby, and not many horses did, Dave. And as we reflect back on that race, a lot of columnists the next day called it a rodeo. Some called it a hockey game. It's a good thing the horses didn't have elbows. You've called thousands of races in your career. Have you ever seen a rougher big race?
No, it's the roughest major race that I've ever seen or called. Not just because of the traffic problems out of the gate or the stretch drive with Bet Twice and Alysheba, but that first turn was a nightmare. In fact, Jose Santos, who rode Cryptoclearance, told me that it was so scary for him, he actually forgot for a while it was the Kentucky Derby. But for those of you that missed the big race in Kentucky, let's turn back the clock 2 weeks and see exactly what happened.
As the gates opened, Alysheba, War, and Cryptoclearance on the rail all seemed to be trying for the same spot. Cryptoclearance apparently got the worst of this tussle. But for Alysheba, this problem was nothing compared to what he would face later in the race. Then came a traffic jam that was the talk of the jockey's room at race's end. A chain reaction involving War on the rail, Leo Castelli, and Masterful Advocate. They began to squeeze. And from the head-on shot, you can see that War, along the inside, winds up being pushed into the rail, and jockey Herb McCauley was lucky to stay aboard. War was lucky he didn't crash through the rail. Meanwhile, a bit farther back, race favorite Demons Be Gone took a solid bump from Alysheba, and his problems were just beginning. 2 furlongs later, as the field was passing him by, jockey Pat Day knew that, once again, his dream of winning the Kentucky Derby would have to wait. Demons Be Gone had fled from the nose, and Day wisely pulled him up. With a half mile to go, the early speedsters began to back up, and Bet Twice in the orange silks was moving effortlessly to the lead. Alysheba in the blue and white silks had moved into fourth and was flying. Alysheba had moved to challenge Bet Twice, who then, under a left-handed whip, bore out into his path. McCarran was fortunate to keep his seat in the saddle as Alysheba struggled to regain his footing. Back in stride, Alysheba came running once again, and again his path to immortality in the record book was blocked. McCarran, the pro, somehow keeps his horse going, and finally they get the better of a stubborn Bet Twice. The others had their chance, but they simply weren't good enough that day. And at the wire, it was Alysheba, followed by Bet Twice, then the long shot A.V.'s Copy, then Cryptoclearance and Gulch, who were both forced wide trying to close from far back, and No More Flowers, who finished 15th.
Just to update the Demons Be Gone story, if you haven't followed it, he is still at Churchill Downs, and we did talk today with Phil Hauswald, his trainer, who still doesn't know why the horse bled from his nostrils during that race, but in Hauswald's words, the horse is coming along awfully good. He didn't totally rule him out of the Belmont Stakes, but chances are we will not see him in 3 weeks in New York. However, Demons Be Gone will resume his racing career probably late this spring or early this summer. Dave touched upon the 6 horses that come from the Kentucky Derby into the field today. Now let's take a look at the other 3, the trio to make up the rest of the field in the Preakness. Trainer D. Wayne Lucas sends out looking for the big one today after his 3-horse entry ran disappointingly in the Derby. while the other Preakness starters have all raced in the last 2 weeks. Looking for the big one has been off a month since finishing second to Demons Be Gone in the Arkansas Derby. Lucas used a similar strategy with Preakness winner Codex in 1980. Phantom Jet has won 7 of 14 starts this year, including 5 stakes races. Though he hasn't faced top company, he's shown a strong closing kick, as evidenced here in winning the Woodlawn Stakes at Pimlico 2 weeks ago. Trainer Phil Gleaves, who apprenticed under Woody Stevens, expects a top performance from his colt today. Harriman is the only Maryland bred in the field and trains at his owner's farm in Middletown, Delaware. Harriman was closing strongly but just missed winning last week's Preakness Prep. His connections are hopeful today's longer distance will suit him. So there are the others, and there is Looking for the Big One, who has some backing today at 13-1. Wayne Lucas had 3 horses in the Derby, just 1 today. If he's to win, he would probably have to do it wire to wire. And we'll return to Baltimore right after this.
I got a feeling for my hometown.
When it's time to sell your home, you want action.
And that's what you get with the Century
Track, taking it from a moribund operation to what it is today for about 3 decades, sold to Frank DeFrancis and his associates. Right now, Lynn Swan is with the 2 men who ran this track for all those years. Herman Cohen, at age 92, still drives his own car to work every day and to Saratoga, New York in the summertime. He's with his younger brother, the kid, 87-year-old Ben Cohen, and Lynn Swan.
Thank you very much, Jim. Gentlemen, what we're wondering is, this is the first time you're sitting out watching the Preakness and not as owners, and how you feel about that.
Well, we feel like it's not much different than it was before. I feel I have the interest in it and am very much interested in how it goes now.
Ben?
Well, trying to get accustomed to it. Yeah. And I think I will.
In the 35 years that you own this track, you accomplished a lot. Of which are you proudest?
Well, the putting on the Preakness and making it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And
you have a
one of the things that we're proudest of, that we finally have come to an agreement with the other 2 Triple Crown races, and they're all acting as one now, and that's important.
That's wonderful. It's a great day for the 112th running of the Preakness, and we all certainly appreciate the fine work you've done in making this one of the outstanding races. So let's go back to Jim.
Okay, I asked Herman Cohen what he's going to do now. He said he's going into breeding. He was serious. That means he waited 4, 5, 6 years for a good horse to come along. What is Maryland? These men are pure Maryland to begin with, and Maryland itself is a small state of irregular shape, squashed like the meat in a sandwich between Philadelphia and Washington. But it's a place of pride and history whose heroes and heroines run an unlikely gamut. There was Francis Scott Key in Baltimore Harbor, writing in the early morning, "Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?" Maryland was the writer H.L. Mencken, puncturing the pomposity and pretentiousness of politicians and Puritans. It was Babe Ruth and Billie Holiday, Johnny Unitas, and Brooks Robinson. But through all the years, Maryland has been most consistently proud of a hero called the Thoroughbred. Native dancer of Sagamore Farm, lost only 1 race in his life, the Kentucky Derby. There was the heroic Maryland-owned Spectacular Bid. And deputed testimony, pride of the Boniface family of Bonita Farm, flying through the slop to win the Preakness. Today, there's Bob and Jane Meyerhoff's Broad Brush, winner of more than $2 million and still going strong. When Northern Dancer, the world's most famous sire, was retired last month at Winfield's farm, it was page 1 news in Maryland. It's an exciting state right now, on the move from the Inner Harbor, once an embarrassment, now a major tourist attraction, to the mountains of western Maryland, to the beaches of Ocean City on the eastern shore, to the white sails on Chesapeake Bay, and the crabs and oysters below that made that bay famous. This week, everything has been pure Maryland, like the mammoth party held Thursday night in the old roundhouse at the B&O Railroad Museum. The country's first railroad engine was built right there. When General Manager Chick Lang came to Pimlico to work for the Cohen family, attendance was about 28,000 at the Preakness. Today, it's well over 80,000 and growing.
The new governor, William Donald Schaefer, put it this way recently.
So why don't we start this year? Why don't we start right now in making this not the same as a Kentucky Derby, better than the Kentucky Derby?
Yes, Maryland racing is blossoming, bigger than ever these days. A former international lawyer, Frank DeFrancis, and his partners, the Manfuso brothers, have attendance and handle on the rise at Pimlico and at Laurel. So it's a happy Preakness Day in Maryland, a day of beauty, excitement, and pageantry when Maryland, my Maryland, is home sweet home to the finest thoroughbreds in the land. And in the interest of objectivity, I guess I should point out that it's also my Maryland, because Margaret and I grew up here and we live here today. It also holds a special place in the career and in the heart of the man who will be riding the Kentucky Derby winner today. Jack Whitaker tells us about Chris McCarran.
Thank you very much, Jim. And of course, Chris broke onto the riding scene in splendor here in Maryland at Pimlico, Laurel and Bowie. But he is, as you know, a true son of Dorchester, Massachusetts. A New England boy sells his heart to the Red Sox and leaves it with them even if he moves to California. Chris McCarran's New England roots go deep. That's where he fell in love with horses.
I was sitting in my living room at home with the rest of my family, and my brother Greg was there, and Greg had just begun riding. And he was cheering for Bill Hartsack coming to the stretch, and he was riding Majestic Prince, and when he came down there the last 8th mile, Greg was just jumping 10 feet off the floor. Come on, Bill, come on, Bill. And I was distracted from watching the race by watching Greg, and it was just an unbelievable thing to see somebody so excited about a sporting event, and I've been hooked on it ever since.
So Chris followed brother Greg to Pimlico, where his real education began.
That's when I met my wife, Judy, and she was a groom at the time. And I went back and finished school, graduated in 72, and came back on the racetrack, and I've been on it ever since. I was a groom and a hot walker all throughout 1972. Began exercising horses down in South Carolina for O.E. Cleland the first week in January of 73, and then I rode my first race on January 24th of 74.
In 2 weeks, Chris had won his first race. He then went on to win a record total of 546 races that year, and the Eclipse Award as the outstanding jockey in the nation. He was no flash in the pan. He followed up his sensational rookie year with more consistently fine performances and established himself firmly as one of the top riders in the world. He won another Eclipse Award along the way and moved from the Maryland tracks to the California circuit, where he held his own with the Bill Shoemakers and the Lafitte Pincays. Last year, after finishing second in the Derby on bold arrangement, Chris took his first mount trained by Woody Stevens in the Belmont, and on a wet and slippery track, urged Danzig Connection home first to give Woody his record 5th straight Belmont Stakes. And life was sweet for Chris McCarran. And then, as it must to most jockeys, Lady Luck blinked. Just 2 weeks after returning from a shoulder injury last October, Chris was involved in a spill at Santa Anita. Down he went with Lafitte Pincay on top, this time a broken leg.
The doctor told me it would probably be a year, and I just figured, well, maybe I'll be ready for the Derby in 88, you know, but the doctors did a fantastic job of putting it all back together.
Chris used his time off to move his family of his wife and 3 daughters into his new home at the top of the Beverly Hills. He was back long before the year was up, back to ride in one of the roughest Kentucky Derbies of them all.
Once I got down the backside, I thought, oh good, I'll be able to get to the outside now, and the rest of the trip should be uneventful, but I was wrong. Just after we straightened away, I just had Bet Twice to get by, and he kind of ducked out quite a bit when Craigford hit him left-handed. He surprised the colt when he hit him, and he swerved, and he came right in my path. And when he clipped heels and stumbled as severely as he did, I thought that the ground was going to be coming up. I had nothing to do with him staying up. He just happened to be agile enough to get back on his feet. I was astonished when he went to run again, Alysheba, and went by him. I couldn't believe it. Horses just don't do that after an incident like that. When I hit the wire was when I was just like, I can't believe this happened. You know, I can't believe how close he came to falling, didn't fall, won the race. And then I thought, Oh my God, how lucky am I? There were 15 horses behind me. My guardian angel was working all the time. I can thank the good Lord for keeping me on that horse.
Are you back down off the clouds yet?
I sure am. I had to be here to ride this horse.
Absolutely. How's your guardian angel? Did he make the weight today?
He sure did. He's going to get on the scale right behind me.
Well, a lot of people here think Cryptoclearance is going to be your big competition today, Chris. What is the track like? We've heard so much about how much softer it is this year than it's been in past Preaknesses.
Well, just looking at it with the naked eye, there appears to be a little bit more cushion on it than it has been in past years. And I'm certainly happy to see that because that sort of favors horses that come from behind usually. The way the race has been playing the last 2 days, it looks like it's favoring a little bit of more so the horses coming from behind.
Well, you should have a better run of it than you did down in Kentucky, and all the best to you. Have a good, safe one again.
Thanks, Mr. Ricker.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Right, sir. Now back to Al Michaels.
All right, Jack and McCarran will be riding the co-favorite as we take a look at the current odds now. Bet Twice, who finished second at Kentucky, is 5-1. Harriman, the long shot, at 45-1. Phantom Jet, winner on the grass here 2 weeks ago, at 18-1. No More Flowers, who finished up the track in Louisville, 25-1. The Speed Horse from the Lucas Barn, looking for the big one, is 13-1. Then the co-favorites, Alysheba, number 6, Cryptoclearance, number 9. As of the last click of the tote board, Alysheba had about $9,000 more wagered on him. So he would be the slightest of favorites right now, with Gulch at 7-2, and AV's Copy, despite finishing third in Louisville, still not attracting much backing here at 23-1. And we'll return to Pimlico following this message and a word from your local station.
When you're behind the wheel in Chrysler LeBaron GTS, you'll love the way it goes, just as much as what it goes for. Base priced under $10,200, GTS comes with 49 luxury and performance features standard. LeBaron GTS is the luxury sports sedan without the luxury price. And it comes with Chrysler's new 770 protection plan. You'll love the way LeBaron GTS goes. And you'll also like the way it stops. Chrysler, driving to be the best.
Leroy Neiman for the Sharp Color Copier.
Vivid colors have always excited me in my art and my life.
Now for bright winning colors, Sharp's advanced technology creates a full-color business copier. It copies from slides, makes transparencies, enlarges and reduces. From crisp black and white to full-color copies, you're the winner with Sharp.
Art by Neiman, color by Sharp. How do I ever get along without it?
Liza Minnelli and Clint Eastwood join an all-star cast when ABC celebrates 100 years of unforgettable memories. Happy birthday, Hollywood, Monday.
The news is out about Church's new classic broiled chicken. Big, juicy pieces with an unbattered, unbeatable taste. That's oven broiled. New classic broiled chicken at Church's.
I hear some of you folks out there haven't tried Tecate beer yet. Well, what are you waiting for? It's so simple. All you need is lime, some salt, and a cold can of Tecate. Just squeeze the lime on top, then shake the salt, then sip the Tecate.
Tecate beer, the Gulf of Mexico.
The Tecate's easy. The chips are tough.
As a writer, I love the written word. As a member of our society, I depend on it. We all do in countless ways every day. Next time you're in a bookstore enjoying your ability to read, give a little to share that gift with the millions who can't read. Your change can change your life. Give the gift of literacy.
Devil at 4 o'clock, Sunday at 10:30 on 24.
I'm outside the stakes barn here at the Preakness, and the horses are beginning to come out of their stalls. Among them, Alysheba, who 2 weeks ago today, his raw courage gave Jack Sandberg what was surely the thrill of a lifetime in the Derby.
I don't think that words can express the feeling of winning the Kentucky Derby. They got derbies all over the world and all over the United States, but there's only one Kentucky Derby.
After 35 years of training, the elusive smell of roses was especially sweet for Jack Sandberg. He came out of Columbus, Nebraska to saddle more winners than any other trainer in the history of the sport, nearly 5,000, mainly with claimers. He received racing's highest honor, the Eclipse Award, but the one that meant the most was joining his father Marion in racing's Hall of Fame.
I just think that I was one of the most fortunate people in the country to have the chance to come up under my father. He was a genius with horses. He was a gentleman along with it. He was a perfectionist. When he sent you to do something, he didn't want any excuses, no shortcuts or anything. You had to do it to his perfection. And at the time when I was a kid, I thought how bad he was, how mean he was. But every day of my life, I thank the Lord that I got to come up under him. And I'd have to say that that's why I work like I do today.
And work he does. Home is in the bluegrass of Kentucky, but it might as well be on an airplane. He's on one daily, supervising his racing operations in 6 states. But the cost is greater than the $67,000 he spent last year on airfare.
I've always said that I was a good provider, but a poor family man, a poor father, because I'm not home. I'm busy. I love to work. I'm a workaholic.
And it's that tireless spirit that keeps driving Jack Van Berg, leading him west to search for even taller mountains to climb. And he's found them. Here in Summit Valley, an hour and a half from downtown Los Angeles, he's building a massive breeding and training complex. With nearly 10,000 acres to work with, Jack and his partners have enormous plans. A complete residential community will soon be a part of this valley, while the training center is already in operation, boasting a 4.5-mile gallop along a riverbed. But nothing can compare with training a horse like Alysheba. Though he captured the Preakness with Gate Dancer 3 years ago, winning the Roses was more than an emotional victory for Jack Van Berg. It was a personal vindication.
I've always been labeled as a claiming trainer. And, that label has hung with me all my life. And that's all we did was train claiming horses. I won a lot of stake races. But until you get in those big races, the Kentucky Derby and those kind of races, nobody gives you any credit. And it's a label that they've stuck on me. It stayed with me. And I'm going to be honest with you. It's a lot harder to win with claiming horses and old horses than it is good horses. And to me, good horses make good trainers. You get a horse, like I told you after this horse won, I know that he's a top horse because he overcome my bad mistakes in my training. So he's made a hero out of me.
Derby sits for good luck. But one thing, Jack, you haven't been able to duplicate this week is Alysheba's final blowout. He went much slower than you expected. What happened?
Well, Chelsea, we're shortening up this race. We're going a 16th of a mile shorter. You know, the Kentucky Derby is a grueling race for any 3-year-old, a mile and a quarter that early in the year. So you have to bear down on a horse pretty hard to get him fit enough to go. He had his bluegrass race 9 days in front off of just 2 races since last December that was very easy races for him that he really, he had an entrapped epiglottis. He didn't run that much. So he run big in the bluegrass. He was fit. He run bigger in the Derby. He got his there. And to me, the thing to do to keep him this next 2 weeks is just to keep him sound and keep him healthy and keep him feeling good. I figured he'd go in 48 on the track. The track is somewhat slower than it's been in previous years. I cautioned Steve a little too much to not go too fast. If I'd have went in 46, I can't put that back in him. And I know that he's fit enough, so I know that all the sports writers and everybody have been wondering because he worked slow that something was wrong. But this horse is just as healthy as he's ever been. He's sound. He's perfect. If he's not run a good race, it's because something's taken out the inside of him that, is not visible from the outside because he looks the part. I think he's done better up here than he's done at any time. I blowed him out this morning just like I did at Derby morning. He went 3/16 a mile, and he was full of himself and stretched out. And Joe, my assistant trainer, and he gets on him all the time. He said, Jack, this horse is just as good or better than he's ever been.
Well, all is left now but the proof. Lots of luck to you, Jack Van Berg.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks for being with us. And that's about the end of the action here in the stable area. The horses are headed over to the infield saddling area, and Jim McKay is close by.
The owners of Alysheba, the Derby winner, are a fine family from Midland, Texas, named Scarborough, although it's spelled a little bit differently than that. They're the horses starting over. Let's go to Lynn Swan with Clarence Scarborough.
Thank you, Jim. That's right, from Midland, Texas. And I've got to ask you, how has it been since you won the Kentucky Derby, handling all the excitement?
It's probably much like it was for you when you won the Super Bowl. It's very exciting.
Yeah. Now, with the anticipation, you're coming up into the Preakness, you've got a chance to go for the Triple Crown. Is it a little tense moment for you?
Yes, it is. Very tense.
Well, how do you handle that?
Not too well, I'm afraid. No, it's great. The people have been so good to us here, and it's a beautiful day at Pimlico, and we're very happy. Thank you.
Now, Dorothy, you and your daughter Pam own this horse. Can you tell us how you decided to buy this horse?
Well, Mom has raced horses with her sister after her father died, and for quite a few years, and then it sort of petered out for a while, and I knew that it was something that she always wanted to get back into. So I sort of threw my hat in and said, well, I'll go in with you, and we did. So we sort of took it off from there.
Well, congratulations to you. I know Midland, Texas loves the fact that you've got a Kentucky Derby on your belt, and we're all excited looking at this horse, possibly a Triple Crown under his belt after this race on its way. Thank you very much. Jim?
Okay, there he is, the Kentucky Derby winner, the only horse here with a chance to win the Triple Crown in 1987. Will his colors be painted on that horse? We'll find out shortly.
The 112th running of the Preakness Stakes. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. By the American Express card. Membership has its privileges. Don't leave home without it. And by Century 21 Real Estate Corporation. Put number one to work for you.
When I go on vacation, I leave the entertainment to Ricardo.
NASCAR's top drivers. The goal, to finish first in this unique three-segment.
Let's go to the horses, the owners, the jockeys, the trainers. But what about those who work in anonymity, in the stables, like the groom? So we taped 2 weeks ago a behind-the-scenes look at the Kentucky Derby at the groom of Cryptoclearance.
My name's Jack Henson, and I'm the groom for Cryptoclearance. But we have a little nickname for him. We just call him Clarence. This morning I got there. I took a thermometer and checked his temperature, and see if he was normal. Normal. 106. It's race day today. Today's the big day. We'll have him out by 6:30 when the boss gets here. And I met Scotty Schulhofer in New York. And I got a job with him. I got lucky, and he's let me take care of Cryptoclearance. When you groom a horse, you learn. You just watch a trainer train. You might pick up his habits. The groom will do what the trainer wants him to do. It's all up to the trainer. He's the boss. You got a 3-year-old that'll run in the Kentucky Derby, you have a great horse. If I won the Kentucky Derby, I think it would be the greatest thing in my life. If you have a bad groom in the stall, you're in trouble. Because the horse is in there 23 hours a day. If he's not happy in there, he's not happy nowhere. If you have a happy horse, you have a running horse, I think. It's 10:30, we just give him his lunch. And my boss had told me to pull the hay. We just give him a little oats and a little, little sweet feed. And all we hope now is he eats everything in the tub and go and lay down for a few hours. Relax. Then all we have to do now is when they get ready to call him over, put on a couple of racing bandages behind, put the bridle on him, clean him up, and bring him over there for the roses. Easy game. Easy game. You've done this all before. You've done this all before, Big Daddy. Ain't nothing to you. How many? We're all happy right about now about Clarence. He's come up to this race super. We've done everything we can do to him now. It's all up to him and the jock and a little racing luck. Just go easy, Bobby. Oh, beautiful, huh? All right, we got to get him. He handled it great. He's taking it all good, right? Yeah. Look at him. All right, Clarence. I hope we don't get... Right there. Come on, boy. Tim. Come, Clarence. Come, Clarence. Get the money. All right, big guy. He's a good horse, boy. He's all hot. Still a champion. We'll get him in the Preakness.
And he is, as you look at him live, the co-favorite now in the Preakness as post time is approaching, and we take a look at the odds, and not much change since we came out on the air. Bet Twice is 5-1. The long shots, then Harriman, Phantom Jet, and No More Flowers. And looking for the big one out of the 5-hole at 13-1, the Speed Horse. Then Alysheba with about $10,000 more bet on him than Cryptoclearance, so he would be a very slight favorite. Gulch with a lot of backing at 7-2. AV's Copy at 23-1 as we approach the 112th Preakness from Baltimore.
One word distinguishes the American Express card from the others. Member.
I hear the choreography.
To us, Mr. Ryan is a member.
So excited.
And at American Express, our card members are entitled to a world of privileges.
Bruce on the right with the brilliant young jockey Jose Santos. And that horse has a lot of backing. That horse right now at 2-1.
You know, just kind of get him out of the gate, get him to running. And use your own judgment for that. That's about all I can tell you. Try to save a little ground and get the job done. That would be the best thing I know.
And pretty simple and direct as we do a little eavesdropping on the number 9 horse. Al Michaels and Dave Johnson back up on the roof. Let's talk about 5 of the horses that have a real decent chance to win today's race. And let's begin with Cryptoclearance. And there were those who alibied for him and said he had the number 1 hole, got squeezed back in Louisville. That hurt him, though he did come on with a rush. And today, all of a sudden, he is working out of the 9 spot, the outside hole.
Well, he does his best running on the outside, and he didn't get that opportunity in the Derby. He has it today with that outside post. He can just be away and clear, and I think he's going to be very dangerous.
Another horse with a great chance starts from the pole. That's Bet Twice, but which Bet Twice will show up today? He's been an erratic horse.
Well, on the plus side, he had post position 14 in the Derby. He was used often and early. He might have a little bit more left today. He figures to get a trip, maybe saving some ground along the inside. But on the negative side, Craig Perret, his jockey, said that he wasn't tiring through the stretch when he was weaving in and out. He was just shying away from people and balloons in the infield, but he's got that again today.
Then there's Alysheba, who did such a magnificent job to maintain his balance, come on in the stretch. Those who denigrate him, though, say it was the slowest Derby in 13 years. And they also look at that work the other day, 50 3/5 for a half mile. What'd you think of that?
It was a little too slow for me, especially when you can compare that to his pre-Derby work, which he went a half mile in 47 seconds. He has several hurdles to overcome today and on to the Triple Crown. By the way, I think I said it was 9 weeks in the Triple Crown. It's actually 5 weeks from the time they run the Derby to the time they cross the finish line in the Belmont. And this is Alysheba's 3rd race in just 23 days. He could be body sore from that contact in the Kentucky Derby. But again, that workout worries me the most. Boy, he is kicking and playing out there in the infield.
Certainly a fresher horse is the Speed Horse looking for the big one. Note they put a G in there. There is no G. It is looking for the big one. The D. Wayne Lucas horse, Gary Stevens, looking for the big one is a horse that did not race as a 2-year-old. He raced 4 times in a 34-day period, but he hasn't raced in a month. So in a way, he does come in fresh as the ball.
He has the freshness edge, and he's the only one who hasn't raced in the last 2 weeks. The rest of the field also, not only have they been racing, but they've been shipping around from track to track, and I think that really does help looking for the big one. And the reason that there's no G in it is because the Jockey Club only allows 18 letters, so that's the limit. No spaces, just 18 big ones.
Let's take a look at a horse with just 5 simple letters, and that's Gulch. And the story here is that Shoemaker rode him in the Derby. He was taken off, and Angel Cordero is back up on number 7.
Well, a little backstage drama, Al. As a 2-year-old, Cordero rode Gulch in all of his races. On Flamingo Day, well, Gulch finished 4th in the Key West Stakes, and then Angel won the Flamingo with Talonham. Jolly criticized Cordero's ride in the Key West on Gulch. So it really is the peacemaker, Peter Brand, who says we're going to go with Gulch today, and Cordero's going to ride him.
Pick a winner?
I like Cryptoclearance.
I need a long shot after the day I've had. Give me looking for the big one. And we'll be looking to come back to Baltimore right after this.
You know what I'd do if I met Dewey Stevens?
What's that?
The call to the post, and now we'll have the playing of Maryland by Maryland. It's been some years now since the Baltimore Colts crept off in the middle of a cold winter's night to Indianapolis, but the Baltimore Colts marching band stays
vowing that they will stay together until the NFL returns to Baltimore. The Baltimore Colts Marching Band and Maryland, My Maryland. Now let's meet the contenders in just a moment for the 112th running of the Preakness Stakes before some 86,000 people at Pimlico. Number 1 is Bet Twice, second in the Kentucky Derby after that staggering trip down the stretch. Trained by Jimmy Kroll, owned by the Levy family, led by Bob Levy. Craig Perrette is the jockey, does most of his riding in New Jersey, and you see that the odds are 9-2 on Bet Twice, a son of Sport and Life. Bred in Kentucky by Will Farish. Number 2 now, the local favorite, Maryland-bred Harriman, the son of Lord Gaylord, who stands at Duck and Glennie Martin's farm not 15 minutes from this racetrack, owned by the Bayard Sharps of Delaware. And he is, in fact, named after Averill Harriman, but 40-1, he's the long shot in the field. Moving along to number 3, it's Phantom Jet, owned by Scott Savin, trained by the young Englishman Phil Gleaves, who learned at the feet of the master Woody Stevens, ridden by Keith Allen. Phantom Jet might be a good bet for show in this race at 17-1. Number 4 is No More Flowers, back for another try after a bad showing in the Kentucky Derby. His trainer says that he just didn't like the track there, either in the Derby trial or the Derby itself. He thinks he can do it today. Number 5, this could be an overlay here. Looking for the big one, the speed horse from the Wayne Lucas barn, and being held at 13-1, as I say, that could be a pretty good bet. He'll be leading the race almost certainly in the early going. He's only had 4 races in his life. Is the one rap against him. Number 6 is the winner of the Kentucky Derby, only horse with a chance for the Triple Crown, Alysheba. Chris McCarron on his back, returning to Maryland, where it all began for him. Co-favorite, that's 2-1. Number 7, well, for a while, his trainer, Leroy Jolly, said he wasn't probably going to come to the Preakness, but owner Peter Brandt wanted to, and here he is with Angel Cordero aboard, 7-2, a real contender here today. He was 6th at the Kentucky Derby, won the Wood earlier, remember. Number 8, the surprise third-place finisher in the Kentucky Derby, Avies Copy, the only remaining horse, remember, of Brown Badgett, who sold all his other 50. Dave Casson, the trainer, Mickey Solomoni at age 44 on his back. His grandsire is Lord Gaylord, the same horse we're talking about with Harriman. And number 9, Cryptoclearance, co-favorite for the Preakness, owned by Phil Tynowitz, the Tynowitz family from Chicago. His sons keep telling us all winter. ABC stands for Always Bet Cryptoclearance. Well, he was coming on strong at the end of the Derby, couldn't quite make it. And that is the field. 9 horses, remember, 6 of them ran in Kentucky. There is Leroy Jolly. One other year, he was overruled by his owner, and that was the year of Genuine Risk. Looked like the owner was right. Genuine Risk, the filly, won the Kentucky Derby. But Leroy says he's happy that he's here now. There is Cordero, the most famous jockey of his time. He's won many millions of dollars in purses. 8, Avies Copy. They're all about to move into the starting gate pretty soon for a mile and 16. Charles E. Candy is here.
Jim, what I must say, being in the infield and watching these horses saddle, they were the most collected group in the infield. Their demeanor was wonderful as they were being packed up. The bands, the crowds, bothered not one of them. And secondly, especially since we have 6 horses left over from the Derby, they all look in such tremendously good physical condition. Not one of them seems to have suffered from the grueling trip they had down to Louisville. They all look good. Even little Cryptoclearance, who tends to be a little on the light side, he may have even gained a few pounds.
Which is very unusual for horses coming into the second leg of the Triple Crown. Usually somebody's staggering in there.
It's a tough road through these 3 races, but they all are in good shape.
So let's get serious. Whom do you like?
It's the same thing, Jim. I don't want to hedge, but once again, we've got a very, as the handicappers would say, an edge and a tight fit. But I'm going to have to stick with Alysheba. Any horse that was that courageous deserves another chance.
I was going to say, anybody who showed the courage and the heart that he did in the stretch at Churchill Downs, I have to stick with him until they beat him. I'll take Alysheba, too. And we'll know soon.
Check out time, Garfield.
Check out. We've only been here a week.
Boy, it was great staying here at an Embassy Suites hotel on vacation.
So what's the big rush?
We got a 2-room suite with a refrigerator, a wet bar, even a sofa bed for you. And a free cook-to-order breakfast every morning.
Delicious.
All for the price of an ordinary hotel room.
That settles it. We're staying.
At Embassy Suites Hotels, you don't have to be a fat cat to enjoy a sweet vacation.
No, but it doesn't hurt. How long does a John Deere last?
How long does a John Deere last? How long does a John Deere last?
How long does a John Deere last?
The mind of Warren Kroll, known to everybody as Jimmy, the trainer of Bet Twice, went in his mid-60s for the first time. He's got a real shot at one of the classics.
Certainly he'll have a better chance now after having that race in Kentucky. The horse will benefit from that. He hadn't run in 4 weeks, and he's got a 16th left to go, and he's also got less traffic. He'll be tough today.
What about, there's Dave Johnson getting ready to do his call up there, looking at all those colors that he puts down, and he told us in Kentucky, remember, that he kind of associates each horse with some kind of crazy thing, so we'll remember the names, the numbers, and the colors. That is a really hard job. The starting gate being put into place. There is Eric Blind, the starter from a family of starters. His uncle Eddie Blind was the starter here for more than a quarter of a century, and I think some of the other relatives are assistant starters, and what a tough job that is, being an assistant starter.
And certainly the pressure is on today with a race of this national importance, but he does a good job.
What do you think about that slow work the other day of Alysheba?
Jim, Jack put it in very good perspective. The exercise rider had blown out a filly for Jack earlier, who ran yesterday. He went entirely too fast with her, and the filly didn't run well yesterday. So he really kind of laid down the law, don't go too fast with this colt. And the boy was more cautious. And frankly, as an exercise rider who's done the same thing myself quite a few times, it's a very easy mistake to make. The horse did it easily, though he wanted to do more. So I don't think it was an indication that that was the best he could do.
And don't you get the feeling that Jack still really does has a faith in this horse? I wouldn't trade for any other horse in the world.
He's very confident. I don't know how the press has taken the attitude that he's not as confident. He said that he had the right to be a little cocky before the Derby because he wasn't the favorite. The pressure's on him now, and he's just being a little more circumspect.
I think Lynn Swan has Bob Levy with him right now, the owner of Bet Twice. You got him? There he is.
Yes, certainly do, Jim. Thank you. And Bob, a lot of people have been talking about the race in the Kentucky Derby, how Bet Twice was bumped around, and that he might have won the race had he not been bumped. How do you feel about that race?
Well, I don't know about that, Lynn. I think the best horse won that day. He ran a remarkable race, Alysheba. We ran a good race, and today's another day. It's 2 weeks later, a different racetrack, and it'll be a different kind of race, and we just hope we do the well.
How do you assess it with the smaller field in Bet Twice's position?
Well, the smaller field's better for all of them. There won't be as much bumping around. Everybody will have a good shot, and I think it'll be a truer run race. I don't think that it's as easy to get bumped around in a 9-horse field as 14, and I think this is a good racetrack. This racetrack's real good. All the horses have liked it all week, and I think it's going to be the best horse will win it, and we just hope we got a shot.
When Bet Twice was coming down in the home stretch in the Derby, what was going through your mind? It looked like he might have had it made.
Well, yeah, especially when that horse stumbled behind us, and we were a length and a half in front of the 8th pole. I thought that it would take a remarkable horse to run us down the last 1/8 of a mile, and Alysheba that day was a remarkable horse. He deserved to win. He ran a great race, and any horse that could beat us that way deserved it. And I just hope today it turns out different, but he's an awful good horse, Lynn.
Okay, he's an awful good horse, and the Preakness is another race, and good luck to you this afternoon.
Thanks very much, Lynn.
Okay, Jim?
One of the fine racing family, the Leafys of Philadelphia, who own the Atlantic City race course, among other things. They've paid their dues. They've been in this sport a long, long time, since Bob's dad and mother before him, and this is the biggest day they've had. The Preakness record, 153 2/5 by Tanks Prospect 1985, is the official record that so many unofficial watches caught Secretariat a tick faster than that most people consider Secretariat's run to be the fastest ever here. The official clock seemed to be malfunctioning that day. So,
there we're looking at Harriman, the only Maryland bred in the field. He likes to lay close to the lead. He'll be sort of, I guess, the secondary speed in this race behind Looking for the Big One. And he's trained by Charlie Peoples, who's trained for Bayard Sharp for the 27 years the man's been in the business. And that's kind of a record in itself, Jim.
An old steeplechase rider, like Scotty Schulhofer.
Yes, that he is. A hunting enthusiast and certainly the sentimental local favorite.
There is number 9, Cryptoclearance. Remember, that's the Chicago favorite of the Kleinowitz family, and lots of support for him. It started yesterday morning, it seemed to me, and it's been building ever since. Here are the odds, the final odds. Bet Twice, 9-2. Harriman at 45-1. Phantom Jet at 18-1. Could be a factor. No More Flowers at 30-1. Looking for the Big One at 13-1. Remember, he should lead in the early going at least. Moving along, Alysheba at 2-1. Gulch at 7-2. Avies Copy 23-1. Cryptoclearance 5-2. Gulch has a little local connection. You know, his His dam was Jamila, who was the money-winningest Maryland filly of all time.
A very hard-knocking filly. Unfortunately, she died a year or two after Gulch was born, foaling a full brother, I believe. But she certainly was a tremendous filly here in Gulch. Looks very well today. He won the Wood Memorial, and certainly the distance should be no problem.
There's Craig Perret and Bet Twice. Moving into the one hole. You'll be looking down that line. You'll be hearing the starter and the noise in there. And you'll be hearing the call from Dave Johnson. All right, Dave, it's yours.
Harriman with Vince Pacelli Jr. moving into line. Nobody has a better view than you do as we watch them get ready for the 112th running of the Preakness.
Okay, everybody take it easy now.
Just 3 more to move in. Everybody acting very nicely. Starter blind is ready to send him on the mile and the 16th route of the Preakness.
Donnie, thanks spread and fun.
And now Gulch is in. Cryptoclearance, who was watching in the Derby, is not this afternoon. That might be a physical sign that he is ready. All in line. And they're off. Toward the inside, Harriman goes for the lead, but from the middle of the pack looking for the big one. Now charges up quickly and takes the lead by a neck. Harriman along the inside is second. Those two duel. 2 back at the rail. Bet Twice is racing third. No More Flowers, surprisingly, up fourth on the outside. Then it's a gap of some 5 lengths to Phantom Jet, who's in fifth. Alysheba, the Derby winner, is sixth on the outside. 80's Copy is racing seventh. Gulch is eighth. And Cryptoclearance is ninth and last. The first quarter in 23 and 1/5 seconds. The battle continues on the front end, and Harriman on the inside takes the lead by a head. On the outside looking for the big one. Those two cooking on the front end. It's 2 back to Bet Twice, who is now clear in third. A gap of 2 and No More Flowers fourth. Gulch beginning to close stoutly on the outside. Alysheba between horses. Then Phantom Jet. Then along the inside, Cryptoclearance, and 80's Copy, now the trailer. As they race down the backstretch, it's still the top 2 racing as a team, looking for the big one on the outside. Harriman at the rail, a gap of 1.5 lengths, and Bet Twice is poised on the outside third and ready to move on the leaders. Along the inside, Cryptoclearance is fourth and gaining, now fourth by a head, and Alysheba on the outside is fifth, and Cordero puts Gulch in gear. Gulch on the outside, charging to contention, but it's Bet Twice with Craig Perret, who comes away with the lead as they approach the quarter pole. Now Bet Twice has it by a head. Alysheba is charging on the inside. That's looking for the big one, dropping back. Gulch in the middle of the racetrack, and Cryptoclearance looks for racing room. And down the stretch they come. Alysheba with Chris McCarron on the outside. Bet Twice toward the inside with Perret. It's a replay of the Kentucky Derby. And on the outside, here comes Alysheba. Alysheba is going to win it, taking the second jewel of racing's greatest prize, the Triple Crown. It was Bet Twice finishing second, and Cryptoclearance was third. Alysheba, about middle of the pack down the backstretch, roared through the stretch and comes home in 1 minute 55 and 4/5 seconds. And boy, what a big step to the Triple Crown. There have been only 11 Triple Crown winners, and Alysheba looks like he has the stuff to be the 12th.
All right, Dave. So the racing writers that said the slow work was the kiss of death were absolutely wrong. We knew he was a good horse. We knew he was a brave horse. They're the owners. Now he may be a great horse.
Indeed he is, Jim. He proved that his race in the Derby was no fluke. Time, as Jack Van Berg says, matters only to those in prison. Alysheba has the stuff of which good horses are made. This could be the year.
Chris, can you hear me? This is Jim McKay. Can you hear me, Chris?
Yeah.
Congratulations. You've done it again, and you did it back home in Maryland.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that was fun.
Tell me, how was the ride? Any problems?
No, none whatsoever. It was nice clean trip this time.
Okay. We'll be talking to you in the winner's circle.
All right. Thank you.
All right. No sign of any objections yet. Of course, we wouldn't know that until the jockeys come back and weigh in. There is no steward's inquiry, and I didn't see any major problems, did you?
No, I didn't, Jim. It looked like a very cleanly run race, and Alysheba, of course, finishing first. And as he came through the stretch to inch ahead of Bet Twice, he began to give me the clue that he might be kind of a lazy sort of colt. He got right there and didn't want to go any further. That's all he gives.
Now, what a nice sentimental story this is. His daddy, Alydar, would surely have been a Triple Crown winner in any other year except for the year he came along. 3 times in the 3 classics, he was beaten narrowly by a firm. But now his son, Alysheba, is 2/3 of the way to the Triple Crown, 2/3 of the way to $5 million, 2/3 of the way to true immortality in the sport of horse racing. There's Jack Van Berg, the trainer,
whose confidence has been justified now. He knew he had a good one all along. He said that once this colt's throat got taken care of, he's finished first now in the 3 races he's run since the throat was operated on. And Jack says himself, I don't know how good he is.
And again, we have an Alydar firm situation going here between Alysheba and Bet Twice.
Indeed we do. And here we'll see it, a replay of just that situation coming through. Bet Twice had gone to the lead coming to the quarter pole and did it very easily, breezed to the lead. But Chris McCarron looked like he steadied just for a minute to wait so he wouldn't lose ground as he swung off the turn. And there you see him in the outside in the blue and white silks wearing the blinkers. And he's inching up on Bet Twice, who runs a tremendously game race along the rail. Little Cryptoclearance, who always gives it all, tries his hardest. But the 2 top pair, there you see them, Alysheba and Bet Twice. Now watch Alysheba. I believe when he thinks he's got just a bit the best, he pulls himself up. I think we're going to see a pattern with him all the way along. He knows he's got it won, and he's saving the rest of it for 2 weeks from today, 3 weeks from today.
Well, now we'll have more second guessing still, despite this. They'll be, say, 155 and change. That's, almost 2 seconds slower than the track record. But I tend to concur with Jack Van Berg. The only time matters in racing is when you're serving it. Track conditions vary so much, and the nature of the race varies so much. What a great homecoming.
As long as summers have been hot. Still unofficial as we're back live from Pimlico, where Alysheba is now just 1 step away from becoming the first horse since 1978 to win the Triple Crown. He is the first horse since 1981 to win the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness, and we have him isolated all the way. And early on, he'll be back in a pack of 4 as looking for the big one, and Harriman set the early pace, but he's well positioned by McCarron as we take a look at the winner of the Preakness, number 6, Alysheba in isolation.
And he'll be easy to follow because he's got those Jack Van Berg purple blinkers on, as you see right there. Now, Gary Stevens just bounces out to the lead with looking for the big one. There's Phantom Jet, the 3-horse. But McCarron is not in any rush to get up real close at this point.
And he doesn't have to think about the same conditions that existed 2 weeks ago. Again, the field of 17 in Louisville. But here he has a lot of racing room in this field of 9.
And around the first turn, no chances, no trouble, no chain reaction like the last Triple Crown race. McCarron biding his time and sitting through the early fractions of 23 1/2, a rather slow 47 1 for this bunch, considering that there was a speed duel on the front end as Harriman right up there with Bertelli and looking for the big one. But there's the big move by Alysheba.
There he goes, and alongside with him goes Gulch, number 7, and as you can see, Cryptoclearance, and the 3 of them running in a pack.
Santos is excellent at saving ground and moving up, finding the room, and he is doing just that with the 9-horse right there. And as you can see, Cordero doesn't want to get too tight into too tight quarters, but he's content to let Bet Twice sprint out there, and there with the checkered silks, McCarron is on the move again. And so is Santos there, threading his way past Harriman, and there goes Gulch with a big move on the outside. Looking for the big one, and the blue cap is going to drop back.
But as the jockeys like to say, at about this point, you begin to ask the question, and he gets the right answer. And here he comes again, and as was the case in Louisville, this time, of course, without the jostling and the bumping and the physical contact, he's able to take the measure of Bet Twice as they come down the stretch.
McCarron is going to wrap this colt a couple times right-handed, right about there. Watch him switch the stick to the left hand and get a little bit more out of him as he passes again. A very stubborn Bet Twice. What a great confrontation this is now. And the son of Alydar, who finished second to Affirmed in this race. So Alysheba brings it home for the old man. Alydar's son wins the Preakness.
And there he is by about 3/4 of a length. The result is still unofficial with Bet Twice again finishing in second position. And the number 9 horse who came through on the inside, Cryptoclearance. And It is not official, yet the initial artwork has begun here at Pimlico. Jack Van Berg, the winningest trainer of all time, but he has won his first Kentucky Derby, and now he has won the Preakness as well. And it is now official, with Alysheba paying $6 to win 460 and 340, and there it is. Bet twice, 460 and 360. Cryptoclearance at $3, and the 6-1 exacta, Alysheba, and number one Bet Twice, paying a modest $23. So he went off at exactly 2-1, and in 3 weeks we'll see if he can do it, win the Triple Crown at Belmont. We'll be back in a moment.
Minolta presents this classic photo finish. The Preakness has challenged every Triple Crown winner from Sir Barton to affirm. In 1937, that challenge was put to Kentucky Derby winner War Admiral, son of the immortal man of war. Did he triumph in this second leg of the Triple Crown? We'll be back.
Once you look through a Minolta Maxim, you'll never see...
To the Preakness by Pompoon. In a stirring duel, the two ran the length of the stretch neck and neck before War Admiral triumphed in a classic photo finish. So the 112th running of the Preakness Stakes is history, and what history was made here this afternoon. Alysheba, 2/3 of the way to the Triple Crown. I'm standing with Frank DeFrancis, the new president of the Maryland Jockey Club, the oldest racing association in America, and a man who has taken up the torch from the Cohen family and has started to carry it with glory. Frank, it's a great day.
What a day, Jim. It's just such a great day for racing, for the city of Baltimore, for the state of Maryland. On behalf of my partners and myself, I want to thank everyone who made this possible. And it's my pleasure at this time, Jim, to introduce to you Baltimore's own, Maryland's best, the governor of our state, William Donald Schaefer.
Governor?
Thank you very much. I look out and I see a tremendous series of faces, and I think how great this is for the metropolitan region of Baltimore and Maryland. Before I make the presentation, there right behind you broke every record that the Preakness ever had here today, Frank DeFrancis, and he made racing what it is in Maryland today. The Triple Crown is so important to all three states, and we're looking forward to having it even better next year and the year after that. But last night, the owner of the horse said to me, we are going to win. Wasn't any doubt at all, and I want to extend my great congratulations first to the jockey, to the trainer, and to the owners, and on behalf of all the people of the state of Maryland, we want to present this great cup to you, and congratulations, super race.
Okay, the Woodlawn Vase, the most valuable trophy in American sport right here. The replica. Governor, you want to give the replica here to the Scarbers? Ooh, don't drop that, McKay.
This is the most famous trophy in the world of sports, and I was told this today by Elmo, and this is a replica of this great, great trophy, so I'd like to make the presentation.
Dorothy Scarborough, you've done your dad one better. He won the Derby. Now you've won the Derby and the Preakness.
Thank you. I feel very emotional and can't talk much. I'm sorry.
You don't have to talk much. Pam is the co-owner of the horse, her daughter. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Is that all?
Terribly exciting.
And Dad always says, I'm just along for the ride. I don't own this horse, but he's having a good time.
I'm just a chore boy, but I guarantee you this is a good one, and I'll look after these two forever, by God.
That's Texas talk if I ever heard it. You know, they're from Midland, Texas, a town that's had some tough times recently with the oil crisis. What do you want to say to the folks back home?
The Kentucky Derby has meant more in the last 2 weeks to the town of Midland and West Texas than anything's happened in many years. It's given people just a lift. It's, not because we won it, but because it's from Midland and West Texas. And we're so proud, and we're sure proud to be here on the second leg of the Triple Crown. And we'll be in Baltimore, excuse me, Governor, we'll be in New York on June the 6th with him.
Okay, Jack Van Berg. Front and center. I don't know whether you can kneel down this low. We got a monitor down here. We can have Jack Van Berg and jockey Chris McCarron go through this race with us one more time. Here, we can get down and look at this thing. Here we are.
Well, I'd really like to get this in first, Mr. McKay. I want to dedicate this win and the Derby. I didn't have the presence of mind to do this during the Kentucky Derby, but I want to dedicate these 2 wins to my former boss and mentor, Odie Cohen. We miss him dearly.
He was a man from Maryland, started off many great jockeys, including you.
That's for sure. I hope I know you're watching, Odie, and we miss you a great deal. Anyway, now the colt broke very sharply today, and he didn't have any traffic problems whatsoever. He had a super position going around the first turn and was much more in the bridle today than he was in his last race. He didn't take much hold of the bit the last time out, but today he was very aggressive right from the word go. And he advanced very nicely down the backside without even calling on him, and had dead aim on the leaders the whole way. And I was just biding my time. I didn't want to hit the front too quickly because there's so much for this colt to look at and stuff. So I just waited, and when I needed response, I reached back and tapped him a few times, and the response was there. He just a super effort.
Jack, at this point, were you perfectly happy?
Yeah, it looked pretty good to me. I couldn't see too much, Jim. Everything was all right. I just told him to watch when we got to the wire. That's what I wanted to know.
Just listen to Dave Johnson in the future.
Right, I was listening to Dave. I wanted him to holler a little louder because I missed a couple calls.
Here you come, Chris.
Yes, right now, I could see that my only concern at this point was the fact that Cryptoclearance was right inside me, and he was going very comfortably with Jose. And I guess he must have just got outrun from the head of the lane to the wire, because I thought he was, once he moved inside of Bet Twice, I thought he was going to be the horse I had to beat. But as it turned out, when Craig asked his colt to run, he responded well, and so did mine, and we were able to go ahead and outfinish Cryptoclearance.
It looks like we have another Alydar and a Firm situation going here, doesn't it? The same two horses running 1, 2, and maybe again in the Belmont. Jack Van Berg, if Odie Clellan is smiling somewhere, certainly your dad, Marion Van Berg, is too.
Yeah, I imagine he is. Hope I redeem myself now for some of the things I did wrong.
He was pretty tough on you, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, but he was good.
On, of course, to the Belmont.
Yeah, we're going to the Belmont, and I don't think the distance will bother him. I want to say one thing. I got to get a hold of Charlie Whittingham, my assistant, get a little help. We're going 1.5 miles this time. So.
He was goofing off all week. He wasn't even here.
If Charlie's listening. Tell him that phone's going to be ringing. I got to get a hold of him.
We've got to take, one more look here from ground level, Chris.
Yeah, this is coming right to the wire here, and as you can see, he's really striding out well, and there was, at this point in the race, there was no question about it. There he is, throwing his ears up, looking for some photographers, trying to look pretty.
Well, I noticed in the saddling enclosure, he was kicking up his heels. He just looked like he was ready to go, and it turned out that he was. And so for the Scarborough of Midland, Texas, and the Van Bergs of Nebraska, and Chris McCarron of Massachusetts, Maryland, and California, congratulations. What a wonderful day, and a wonderful day for the state of Maryland. Here is the complete order of finish, now final and official. Alysheba, Bet Twice, Cryptoclearance, Gulch was 4th, AB's Copy was 5th. Moving on, Phantom Jet was 6th, Looking for the Big One 7th, No More Flowers was 8th, and Harriman, the local favorite, was last. So that's the story as of now on the, there are the colors. There are the colors of the Scarborough family being painted on that horse on top of the cupola. We'll be back.
The 112th running of the Preakness Stakes. This ABC Sports exclusive has been brought to you by Chrysler. Chrysler believes a luxury car should be a great driving car. At Chrysler, they're driving to be the best. By Budweiser, Beechwood Aged, for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by the American Express card. Membership has its privileges. Don't leave home without it.
There again is the Woodlawn Vase, and let's check up on the point situation for that $1 million, possibly $5 million bonus situation. Now, Alysheba has 10 points, winning both the Derby and the Preakness, but Bet Twice has 6 points. Should he win the Belmont and Alysheba finish out of the money, Bet Twice would win the $1 million bonus. However, if Alysheba wins the Belmont, sweeps all 3, he is guaranteed total money of $5 million. So it's one of those two, Alysheba or Bet Twice, and it should really be something. They'll be coming down to the Belmont just like Alydar, Alysheba's father, and a Firm did all those years ago. Let's go to Jack Whitaker.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. I wish you could have heard the connections for Bet Twice. The owner, trainer, and jockey were all amazed. They've enjoyed it just almost as much as if they have won it. And I think we have a legend in the making here between these two horses. And for the first time since Spectacular Bid, we have one on the brink of a Triple Crown, and that means the Belmont's going to be the big show in 3 weeks. But there'll be a lurker up there, a Woody Stevens trained horse, gone west, trying to give Woody, of course, his 6th straight Belmont. So we've got a lot of plots going 3 weeks from now. But at the moment, Alysheba is still the boss. Jim?
Just got
to win it. I said, well, what's wrong? She says,
Okay, there it is, the completion of the colors being